got for you is I see that the first stop of this tour is already sold out, which is already a pretty good reception. Were you expecting that being a regional tour this big?
Um, I don't know if we had sort of any expectations or any sort of idea of like how, if this tour was going to do well or what the situation was with it. To be honest, it had been so long since our last regional tour that I think it was pretty safe to assume that like, anything could have happened. I'm happy it was Mackay though, because we've got a kind of like a story about Mackay where on our first ever Australian tour in 2011, we arrived at the airport on the East Coast because we're all from Perth, obviously, and
Mm.
we hadn't booked a van or anything like that. So the plan, I guess, in our minds was just to find our ways to shows by catching taxis and uh, public transport. We called a Greyhound bus, I think, all the way to Rockhampton. Anyway, at 5 days into the tour or so, we like ran out of money and were and like a leg of the shows, like maybe 3 or 4 shows in a row. And the first show of which we were unable to attend back then was the Mackay show. And
Well, redemption then.
yeah, it's a bit of a redemption arc. Apparently, people got very upset that we weren't playing. They'd like ripped off the toilet seat and ripped out the kitchen sink or something like that at the venue because apparently they're falling apart. So it's cool to get back there and play again. That's for sure. But yeah, no expectations of this tour. We just, I think the only expectation really, this is going to sound extremely cheesy, but it's the truth. The only expectation we have is that we, you know, have a significant amount of like pub feeds and do a sightseeing and have a blast at the shows. That's
Well,
literally like,
that's the
oh,
go because the next thing I was going to ask is like, does it differ a lot organizing a regional tour instead of like hitting the major cities? I mean, you're going to be in not so great hotels, maybe more backstop feeds here and there.
yeah, well, I mean, I love that. I mean, it reminds me of I think that a lot of Australian touring, basically every Australian tour used to be regional back in the day. At least all the ones we did, which was 2013 to 2014 or so, they were all kind of like that. You'd still play like Melbourne and Sydney and that, but then in between those shows, you'd do all the regional shows, and I think it's I have super fond memories of those early tours, and I think that there's nothing quite compares to yeah. I mean, maybe you could stay at a hotel in the city, some big like corporate franchise hotel chain or something like that, and it might be um, a little bit more sanitary or something like that. But I mean, nothing beats of staying at a pub. You know what I mean? That's I'm all about that experience, and like I want to try like all the local bakeries and like try a meat pie in every town. Like, sick. I can't wait.
Yeah, nice. Is there any spots you're like really excited to hit, ones you haven't played before?
Um, yeah, yeah. I think. Well, I guess Mackay. Going back to that one, I guess was is probably a pretty big one, just for that reason and the redemption arc of that. Um, Fremantle in well, I'll say Perth, but it's Fremantle's Fremantle.
Mm.
Um, that venue is one that I've been wanting to play for ages, and it used to actually be a venue called the Flyby nightclub, which got closed down. But I mean, I have the fondest memories of like attending like blues gigs with my folks when I was a kid at the Flyby nightclub, and it's just always it's such an iconic kind of venue. Now it's been refurbished and everything, but we haven't played that venue since the Free Your Minds tour with Northland, which I think was back in 2013, and we were like opening a 7 band bill or something like that. So to actually just play this venue as like the headlining act, and I don't know, there's a lot of sentimental kind of value I think with that. Yeah.
Nice. I'm mostly doing this interview because of the Sunny Coast stop. Have you played there before?
What's the name of the?
Are you playing at the station? You probably wouldn't, it wasn't around, that's only been around for about a year.
No, I don't think we have. Yeah, no, I'm not sure we have.
Played on the
I,
Sunny Coast.
Yeah, we have played around the sunny coast before, but yeah, no, never played the station. But I mean, I remember touring one time, and after a gig on the sunny coast, we just like we were in a van together, and then we found like a beach car park kind of thing, and then we all had sleeping bags, and we took our sleeping bags around the corner, like into the sand dunes kind of thing, and all just like slept on the sand dunes, and uh, probably like highly illegal. I think we like it was the middle. It wasn't winter, but it was cool enough, and like we started a little like fire, and we're just like it was literally just camping in the dunes, like next to the rocks, which was super cool to fall asleep under the stars and just to the sound of the rolling waves. That was awesome. I'm pretty sure that was in the sunny coast. So that was a memory that like we'll cherish, I think, for a long time. But in terms of the shows, I mean, yeah, the our shows on the sunny coast. I don't think we've played there in a very long time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, at least 6 years, but something tells me it might even be longer than that.
Right. Are you bussing it around on this trip?
We are. It's our first time ever touring Australia in a bus.
Nice.
Didn't even know that that was a possibility, to be honest. We just thought the bus tour was like an American and European thing. So
Yeah.
it's usually, I mean, typically if you're touring Australia and you're doing like a market or whatever, like you're doing the capital cities,
Mm.
you're just flying everywhere. And I think when we obviously used to do all our regional tours and stuff in a van back in the day, and I think there's such a difference between like flying to your next show and being in a bus or a van, and just experiencing the drives and everything, and just like being able to look out the window and just soak it all in. I think it's so much more rewarding in that sense. So yeah, super pumped for that.
Nice. Your
Mm.
your new self-titled album is only about 6 months old now. Is that going to be a key part of your set list on this tour?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing a mix of new and old. We're playing one or two songs from our first album, Never Bloom, and then we've got songs off every album basically. But
Nice.
the greatest number of songs we have is from the new one, and those songs have been super fun to perform live. It's obviously like that we typically it's quite typical that a band will enjoy playing their newer stuff the most live because the newest and they've played the other songs hundreds and hundreds of times. But I do sincerely think that like the new songs really do translate to a live setting in a very like good and high energy way. For delivers like a very high energy performance, I think, the songs. So yeah, we're super excited to bring those songs to it. I mean, for at least like two or three of the songs, it's going to be our first time playing them live in Australia. So
Nice. I guess
yeah,
that's probably with the addition of Alex. I mean, that's probably a whole new show for you guys now.
yeah, a little bit. I mean, there's sort of the songs represent like the new era of the band, I suppose. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe. We were like abbreviating it to like AR and BR, like before read Alex, or before read after read sort of thing, because it like there was a rebirth of the band after Alex joined the band. But yeah, yeah, it's super cool to be.
Do you have to change the way you play your show? Because there's going to be like some of these venues are pubs and are smaller ones, or you don't mind a bit of an intimate setting, closer crowd.
Yeah, well, I mean, this show will be different in the sense that logistically, it just doesn't. When we on the Suffer Forever tour, the last Australian headliner we did, we were playing like the Forum in Melbourne, and that stage has plenty of room to
Mm.
do, pyrotechnics. We had like, big TV screens behind us with all this insane graphics. You can't really do that. It's not really feasible to do that at the scale and size of the venues that we're playing on this tour. It's mostly like pubs and stuff. So yeah, it is going to be like more stripped back, I think, and a return to I don't know, the good old days, the grassroots kind of thing. And I'm kind of excited for that because I think, um, you know, when you go to watch a band that has, all the bells and whistles of like this insane like production, it's great, but it can often be difficult to feel that sense of like connection between you and the band. It's like, well, so much is happening up here that, I'm not, it feels like I'm not even really watching the individuals perform. I'm just watching, the TV behind them or whatever it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
or everything. Um, I think it's really important to play shows like this every now and then. And I think there's always like a vibe whenever you play, um, regional gigs or like more intimate shows where there's more of a connection between the band and the audience, and it's kind of like everyone's rocking out, having a good time. It's basically I see it as a party, really.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it's probably one of the things that I'm looking forward to most about this tour is bringing our live show back to basics with our home market with an Australian market, and playing some places that we haven't played in a very long time that at one point were, spots we would tour way more frequently. And it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of like nostalgia and sentimentality around the tour, I think, for us.
I think if you ask a lot of people, would you rather see one of your favorite bands at a big theatre with 4,000 other people, or would you rather go to the pub up the road with 500 or less, crammed in, the bar's right there, the toilet's there, they blocked off the Keno machine and you go for it? I think a lot of people would say, give me that intimate pub show every time.
Oh, without question. Yeah. The best live show I've ever seen of like a metalcore band. They are my favorite metalcore band. Misery Signals was at Amplifier Bar. It's 500 cap venue,
Yeah.
and awesome. I love intimate shows like that. I think it's just way more easy to get into it and to be just captivated by the performance of the band, and not be distracted by what other production is going on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I've got one last question for you. If you could tour with any artist, living or dead, who would you pick?
Metallica, easy.
Solid?
Yeah. What's that?
I said solid, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit upset actually because I've never seen Metallica live, and where I had actually bought tickets to Metallica when they're playing in Perth, and then since then we've a tour opportunity has come up, and we've had to accept the tour opportunity. So I've got to get rid of these tickets to Metallica now. But I don't know. I did say I was like, can we please not tour around this time because I really really want to see Metallica live. And yeah, unfortunately, it was kind of like an offer we couldn't refuse. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Metallica's amazing. It'd be a great band to tour with, and yeah, super cool.
Very good. Thanks for your time, man.
No worries. Thank you.
I'll see you at the Sunny Coast show.
Sounds good. Cheers, Mark.
Thanks, mate.